Hello, it's Piers from Jersey Laser Scanning. I have set myself the task of trying to supply clients with a point cloud which they can view without downloading software, and because of all the complications of going through their IT department and installing things, finding it, trusting it, and so on, but viewing a point cloud through a browser, any browser, on your phone, on Macs, on Microsoft, that sort of thing. So this video basically explains the solution and what we have come up with at the moment. So this is a drone point cloud, and this is the, so just have a quick look, make sure we've got the right one up. Now we want the dense point cloud. So this is the software called Microsoft Agisoft Metashape Pro or Professional, and it is the software where the drone with all its photographs have been put together through a process called photogrammetry, and has generated a point cloud by triangulating all the points from all of the images above, and up here shows basically where the photographs are taken, and each one of these locations are accurate to 1 centimeter. Each one of these ground control points are accurate to 1 centimeter or less. And when you combine all this triangulation of points coming down to the ground, each pixel has been triangulated by anything that can see it, you get a sub-centimeter accurate point cloud, and that can be verified through checkpoints and things like that. So this is an overflight of a bungalow, and the drone flight was in an oblique pattern, so we flew one overhead facing directly down, and then another 4 flights, one from this side with angles down 55 degrees, moving all the way back and forth, and the same on this side, the same on this side, and the same on this side. So effectively 5 flights, lots of triangulation, and we generate what's referred to as a point cloud. So let me turn all this stuff off, and this is the output. This is nice and high resolution. I like Agisoft Metashape Pro because the quality of this point cloud, or rather the density of this point cloud, is certainly on par with LiDAR scanning. Just the amount of points you can get per square meter, per square centimeter, and so on, which makes it much easier for me to build in a 3D computer-aided design model to make floor plans, elevation sections, and so on. So how do I get this point cloud to my clients, so they can look at it without all of the things that I mentioned before? Well, what I've managed to achieve is, after a bit of research, that point cloud in a browser. So this, for example, would be the link. Hold on a second, before I go there. You can't view, or rather the client can't view this point cloud through this software without having an Agisoft Metashape Pro license or an Agisoft Metashape license. That could be doable, but it's just not practical at this stage. One way of doing this is if I go and upload a video, a preset video, to my YouTube channel, to the Jersey Laser Scanning YouTube channel, and as you can see here, this is an example of that preset. Now this is a textured output, and it looks very nice. The video is about 3 minutes long, and it flies and swoops all around the property, but you can't interact with it. You can't get coordinates and do arbitrary. When I say arbitrary, you can't measure surface area, point to point, that sort of thing. So if I remove that, we now have the capability of basically sending you this link, and this link would arrive in your inbox like that, and it opens up in whatever your default browser software is. This is through a company called usBIM or usBIM. This is just a browser, read-only mode, and let's have a quick look at what it can do. This is effectively going to be a tutorial on how you can take advantage of this file. First things first, this is a 3D point cloud. If you're going to take very accurate measurements, you ought to do that in a computer-aided design program, a dedicated one. This is going to help select points and orientation and maybe briefing with your clients, clients of clients, and things like that. But when this downloads, you saw that sort of pixelated square rolling here, which is pulling down the sort of 2 gigabytes of data, which you can see here. So let's talk about navigation first. So middle mouse button, press and hold, and I can slide this around in 2 dimensions effectively. Right mouse button, click and hold. You see that yellow circle appear in the middle, that yellow sphere? Everything will rotate around that point. So if I select something in the field over here, right click and hold, it will rotate around that point. Now it's quite far away here, so I middle mouse button it back to the middle here. It's quite far away here, so I'm going to scroll in, and I would thoroughly advise that you wait for the rendering in of all the points. It just makes it a lot easier for your systems to manage it. It will require a bit of graphics card. It's obviously dependent on your internet connection because it's pulling in these points live from a third-party website. So whilst that's loading up this bit, and it will depend on the speed of your connection as well, how fast it does it, you can see that lots more detail comes in. There are various functions that you can carry out down here. This is a read-only file, so you shouldn't have any worries about accidentally deleting anything, and even if that came to be, I would upload the point cloud again. So there are a number of things you can do here, but I think the critical ones to show you are the boxing function here and the measuring function. If you hold your mouse over that for a bit, it will highlight. So I'm still waiting for all of these higher density, closer in points to load in this point cloud. One can navigate now, but it may freeze things up a little bit if you try and ask it to do too much. So you can see how quickly it's enabling the rendering in of this sort of stuff. So it's paused, that's good. I'm going to show you some of the straightforward functions first, which is the measuring tool. So I left click. Oh, by the way, if you left click on the screen, you'll make everything go yellow because you've selected the point cloud as such. If you want to stop doing that, left click off to one side, and then you can navigate with your mouse wheel to scroll in and out. I think I forgot to mention that. And you can use your middle mouse button, push and hold to slide or strafe, and right mouse button again to rotate around a point which you have selected. Now, this was a very quick, this probably took about 11 or 12 minutes to gather the information and about a day to process in the accuracy that I wanted. But as you can see, some of these bits underneath weren't captured in particularly good detail, but this was just a test flight. It is easy to fly the drone lower down, facing the camera sideways, and plug all these in, so the eaves and the wall going right up to where the roof starts could all be collected. So bear with me on this one. It's just a test example to show you how this browser works. So if I wanted to select a point or do some measurement, I hold my mouse over there. You can see that's the measurement area. I left click on that, and you have various things you can do. So I can do a linear measurement, angular measurement, that surface area, and point measurement. Now this is a georeference point cloud, so I think that's probably going to be one of the things that's probably of note, of interest most immediately. If I left click on that, I now have this point tool selected, and if there's a blue icon flashes up underneath where your mouse is, it's because it's selected a particular point from the point cloud there. So let's zoom in a bit, and I'm going to select the top edge of the chimney, somewhere on that flat platform there, left click, and you have that point in the Jersey Transverse Mercator. So X, Y, and Z, so that's 76.61 above the ordnance datum level under the Jersey Transverse Mercator. And if I were to press my right mouse button and rotate, I can still navigate to where I want to get to. I'm going to select the ridge of that roof line, and we can see that it's about 80 centimeters or so higher up. And you can continue doing that all the way through, and they just rack up down here. And you can delete them out just by pressing that bin icon onto the side. Going for the linear measurement, so let's just take a point here, one there, and all the way to that point. I want to check now. We are measuring in 3D here, so for example, I thought I was clicking right in the center of this ridge, but you can see the skew. This side is slightly lower and this side is slightly higher, so you must bear in mind that the best way to measure is in 2 dimensions through computer aided design software like Revit, AutoCAD, Vectorworks, ArchiCAD, that sort of thing. And there are other tools, and you get the general idea of what you can do, but this is a very quick video on how to navigate what you can see. Oh, one other thing I was going to show you. If I close that measurement box out, I'm going to use box section here. Box section is an interesting tool. So I've selected the box section. Now nothing appears to have happened, but if I scroll out a bit, and I left click on this box, you can see that this rather large box has appeared around the point cloud. So the way you navigate through this is you click it once and then you have control of it, and it will continue to move until you click it again. So I'm going to click it again now and freeze that up. What I'm also going to try and do is rotate this point cloud so it's moving around a bit. So I'm going to select one of these yellow spheres here and rotate it so that it's approximately lined up. Oh yeah, you've got to click once to grab it and then click again to line it up, and I wanted to line up that edge with that edge, so it's approximately right. And left click again to release it, one click to grab, click again to release it, and this boxing function, you can slice through a property like this. Now this is just an external survey, so you can't see anything on the inside. But if there was a whole survey, internal, external, uploaded, you'd be able to see all the rooms break down and move through. Someone who I was showing this to pointed out that the point cloud appears to have picked up the ground floor, the floor rather, of this swimming pool. Now, please bear in mind that the light that has come and entered the camera lens has been bent through water. Rather like when you put a stick into water, the top of the stick appears to go into the water, and then if you look at the stick through the water, it appears to be set off to one side. I wouldn't trust the measurements through water like this, because it's going through a different medium, and light's bending, refracting, and potentially reflections as well. However, this is a quick familiarization, so I'm going to turn the box off by hitting that middle button, close out of this whole section here, and have the ability to look at the point cloud again. So I hope that's been useful. This will normally accompany any drone flight that I've done, but I'm just going to see what sort of feedback I get from clients to see whether this is of use or not. Thank you very much. Goodbye.